Hi everyone, it's me, beautiful Mommy Ree, and this is Lauren. Say hello, say hello. We are in the middle of feeding, aren't we? Yeah. And yeah, so I wanted to pause and take a time. Excuse me, I'm a feeder. She's very greedy. She's a greedy baby. Take the time to share with you all my birth experience. So yeah, I'll start with when I went into labor. It was Wednesday, March the 5th, and I was supposed to go to work, but I didn't go to work. I called in. I honestly just came up with a reason not to go, but like literally and seriously, I was not feeling it. And I had been working and working and working, and my due date was the 13th, so I was pushing it kind of close, and they knew. And so, oh wow, there's glare on the screen. Let me see if I can touch it. That's a little better. Anyways, and so I didn't go to work. I stayed at home and I was in the bed and I just laid in bed all day. And I didn't feel sick. I just felt so tired. And so my boyfriend went to work. He worked overnight, 10 to 6 or whatever. And that night he went to work. And about 4 o'clock, we always text while he's at work, and I text him and I was like, if I think I'm having contractions, but they don't hurt, and everywhere I read says when I go into labor I'll know because they'll hurt, and I'm like, but what if they don't hurt? Like, what if my contractions just never hurt? And so he was like, you want to go to the emergency room? And I was like, no, I'm okay. So it's about 4:30, and then about 4:30 I got up and went to the restroom, mid-conversation. I got up and went to the restroom, and I did what I needed to do, and then I felt the trickle. And I was like, wait, I'm not doing that. And then I was like, no, seriously, like, I'm not peeing anymore. Am I peeing? And so, you know how you go to pee, and I'm like, no, I'm not peeing. And then I'm like, oh my God, I think my water broke. And so I got up, and I kind of like waddled over to the closet to get a pad and put on, and I put the pad on, and then I sat down, and then there was like a slight gush, and I was like, it's out of my period, or it's like when my period comes. You know how you get these random gushes during your period? It doesn't just trickle out. And so I was like, oh my God, my water's broken. And so I called my boyfriend, and I said, my water just broke. And I was like, come on, because my water just broke. And he's like, okay, I'm on the way. So he takes off of work and gets here or whatever. And I'm like in disbelief, my water has broken. I'm like, what if it's not really broken? What if this is pee? And I kept putting my hand down there and smelling it. I know that's nasty. But I kept putting my hand down there and smelling it and looking at it. And it was clear. It was water. It was like water. And so I got my boyfriend's bag together because he did not pack his bag like he was supposed to. He kept thinking that the baby was gonna come around the due date. And yeah, so I got his tried to get his bag together as much as I could. We needed to wash, so I really couldn't really pack him a lot. And so, hey poo poo, she gonna burp. I'm a burper. And so he got here. It took him about an hour to get here. I was on the phone with my mom the whole time, and I just was calm. Like, I was like, yeah, my water broke. Like, wow, the baby's coming. And so he got here. We hopped in the car. We grabbed her bag, grabbed my bag, hopped in the car, and went off to labor and delivery. Oh, before I left, I called labor and delivery and let them know because I am group B strep positive. So I let them know I'm group B strep positive. My doctor told me when my water break to come on in. And they said, okay, come on in. We'll have a room ready for you. Just come on up to labor and delivery. So, okay, great. So we got to the hospital. He dropped me off in front and parked the car. We went up to labor and delivery. They were expecting me. I signed in, got a room, got a robe, got hooked up to the monitors and everything. Gave them my birth plan. They looked over it because they checked me. Her head was right there, down there, like right there, engaged in my pelvis. So I could not walk around like I wanted to, because that's what I wanted to do originally on my birth plan. I wanted to walk around. I could not walk around during my contractions, to speed it up. I could not walk around because they didn't want the umbilical cord to come down and, wrap around her neck or whatever. I understood that part. Wasn't too broken up. I told them the most important thing on my birth plan is that my boyfriend stays with me the whole time, and that delayed clamp cord, the delayed cord clamping. Other than that, all that can go to hell. That's what I told her, and she was like, okay, fine. But I labored. I was at a 2 still. I had been at a 2 since my doctor's appointment the week before because I had started going every week. I was 39 weeks exactly on that day. So they came in and checked me and checked me and checked me, and I was still a 2. Got to a 3. Hours and hours went by. We watched Frozen. My boyfriend pulled up Frozen, and we watched Frozen and stuff like that. And the baby seemed to be doing fine. She was having some decels. They gave me the Pitocin first. After a while, because they didn't want me to go too long with my water being broken. Because at this point, like, my water wasn't even coming out any, it wasn't trickling or anything no more. So, they gave me the Pitocin. The contractions, like, they sped up. They were real irregular when they were on the Pitocin. When I was off of the Pitocin, they weren't irregular, but they were strong, but they weren't strong enough. On the Pitocin, they were strong and irregular. So, I got on the Pitocin, and on the Pitocin, I got to a 4. I was stuck at a 4 for hours and hours and hours. By that time, it was like Friday. No, by the time it was like about 8 o'clock Thursday. Mind you, I had gotten in at 5 o'clock in the morning Thursday, so we was like, oh no. And I was like, this is probably gonna end in a C-section, cause they're gonna want to C-section me by tomorrow. So I was like, I was just coming to grips with reality. I was like, I don't want a C-section. I want to have a vaginal birth. I don't feel like going through the stress of the incision and healing and all that. I want a vaginal birth. And so my boyfriend, he had took off work for that day, and we were just hanging out, watching TV. He was sleeping and everything. My contractions I started to feel them. They didn't really hurt. I just started to feel them. But it hurt every single time they checked me. It hurt a lot. It hurt because her head was right there, and it was just like, but I wasn't wide enough, so it hurted really bad. It's like they were pushing, she was pushing. Every time they pushed on her, she kicked me. It was like, oh my God. And so, she probably not gonna birth again. But, anyways, I told them, well, let's go ahead and do the epidural because for some reason they had a lot of births that day, a lot of C-sections and a lot of vaginals, and both ladies on both sides of me were in labor, like active labor. And so the anesthesiologist came, did my epidural. I took it. I was fine with my epidural. I was so scared that it was gonna hurt so bad and all that, but I was fine. My boyfriend was like, he was so surprised at how calm and how well I was taking everything that they did to me or whatever. Because even my IV, oh my God, it was crazy. The methods they used. But anyways, even with that, what happened was her little yawn is cute. What happened was the nurse blew my vein in one of my hands, and like, yeah, she blew the vein, and I was pissed off. There we go. I was pissed off because it hurt very badly, but I wasn't. I was just like, making those crazy faces. Puka, she complains a lot. Look at her. She's a bully. She be grabbing on my clothes like, listen to me. Give me the milk. But, yeah. Yeah, Puka. No, don't cry. Don't cry. But, yeah. And so, yeah, they gave me my epidural and everything was fine. With my epidural, I could still feel kind of my legs. I could lift them. I could not bend them or wiggle my toes or anything like that, but I could lift them. When they checked me, it was easier. It was fine. It was fine. So time went on. I was stuck at it for a very long time. I was 90% E-face, so they weren't worried about that part. And then about 10 o'clock Thursday night, no, was it 10? No, it was later. Maybe like 11, 12 o'clock, I started getting terrible pains. Like, it felt like there was a bowling ball sitting in my pelvis. It wasn't, the contractions were fine. Everything else was fine. It was just like this random, it was like a dull but painful, like deep pain. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? And so I called him. I was like, the epidural isn't working. I feel pain. They came in, the anesthesiologist upped the dose. He upped it up so much that my legs went completely numb. Like, I could not feel a dang thing. I was like, okay, woo. And then 5 minutes later, the pain came back, and I was like, "Oh my God, I don't understand. Why am I in pain? I have epidural." And so the nurse came in. She was like, "Well, the baby is down there, so it may be the baby just pressing on like your nerves and stuff like that." And I was like, "Ain't that what an epidural is supposed to be, like taken care of?" And it was like, "Well, no, not necessarily. If they press on this or that, you're gonna feel it and blah 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 blah." I was like, "Oh my God, this is a waste of money." I was like, "I'm glad I got it because it probably would have hurt way worse, especially my back or whatever." And so, yeah, got the epidural. She is knocked out, y'all. Got the epidural. Got the epidural turned up. Was in pain. After I could not take it anymore, she said, "Let me know if you feel pressure." After I could not take it anymore, I said, I can't do this. I can't take this pain. I can't. This is like the most uncomfortable pain I've ever felt in my life. And it was hurting. I probably could have taken it, but it was kind of like something in me needed to come out, and it was the baby. And so she checked me, and she was like, "Oh, she's here." Like, her hair, you could see her hair when I opened my legs, which was interesting. And so she said, "Okay, we're going to do some practice pushing," which was really just pushes. Because I was ready. I was beyond 10 centimeters, beyond E-phase. Like, I was ready. And so she get down there. The nurse gets down there, and, I'm pushing, and she's counting or whatever. I do like 3 pushes or whatever. Then we wait on the doctor to come from next door. The doctor gets in there, and we go kick it into high gear. 5 contractions, 3 pushes each, so 15 pushes. 15 minutes of pushing, and she's here. Her head popped out. I asked for a mirror. I thought I wasn't gonna want a mirror, but I asked for a mirror, and I was surprised at how clean everything looked. I was expecting, um, blood to be everywhere. But I was surprised at how clean everything looked. I mean, there was blood, but it wasn't like on the walls or anything. I was surprised at how clean everything looked. And her head, I pushed her, and I could see her little head just coming out and going in, coming down and going in, coming out and going in. And then her head, popped out. And then he said, "Stop pushing." And then all the while I was pushing, he was like massaging my perineum. And he pulled it back a little bit, and then he pulled her down and turned her, and she like folded on out of there, flipped on out of there. And as soon as she came out, he held her up and put her on me, and she was like, "Oh, oh," and then she was crying. And then she didn't cry. She didn't come out crying. She came out with her eyes open, and she was kind of like, what?" And he cut my boyfriend. He waited and cleaned me up a little bit. The placenta was coming, and then he clamped the cord, so there was delayed cord clamping. My boyfriend came over and cut the cord. He asked him, "You want to cut the cord?" And he let him cut the cord, and they rubbed her off on me. And I was touching her and crying, and my boyfriend was standing there looking, and then they were like, "Okay, we're going to take her over here, and we're going to clean her up for you, and, check her temperature and check her weight." And they took her, and I saw in the mirror my doctor stitched me up like 2 stitches, and then that was it. Stitched me up 2 stitches, dabbed me off, took everything out, pressed on my stomach a little bit, and then they put the bed back together and got me up and got me to the restroom, and everything. Everything was fine after that. They got her when they finished cleaning her off. They brought her over to breastfeed, so she sucked on the nipple a little bit. She wasn't a pro at it to begin with. She's still not kind of a pro. Sucked on the nipple a little bit. They was like, "Well, come on, let's get you up," and I gave her to my boyfriend. I said, "Here, give her to her dad." And he held her for a while they took care of me and got me together and got me changed and everything and ready for going over to recovery or mother baby unit. Got me a wheelchair, gave me mother baby unit, gave me my baby. And I was fresh out. I was surprised how fresh out of labor I was, and I wasn't in any pain. I didn't feel anything. My epidural was wearing off very fast. Like, my epidural was wearing off like within 2 hours. I was surprised because they gave me so much, and I was on it so long. But my epidural wore off in like 2 hours. She gave me 1:51 a.m. Weighed 6 pounds, 12 ounces. Her name is Lauren Gabrielle. And she's beautiful. And yeah, that's my birth story. After that, I went to the restroom. I was surprised I was not in pain. Like, I was sore and I was stiff, but I wasn't in pain. So, even with the only pain medicine I took was Motrin, and I took it 3 times while I was in the hospital. And I was in the hospital from Thursday to Sunday because my water had been broken so long, so they wanted to watch her. And then she came so early on Friday. They did her 24 hours, which fell on Saturday. So then we didn't get out of there until Sunday evening. So they wanted to watch me and they wanted to watch her, and we both are fine. And she's almost 3 weeks, and we're both fine. So thanks for watching. I guess I had a great experience. Not probably gonna do it again. Probably not gonna do it again. I really don't want to be pregnant again. But yeah, this, y'all have a good day, I guess. That's it. It's that simple. All right. Bye.